Morning, teacher classmate. Today I'm with engineer Francisco Alvarez. He's the chief of the of talk about what things we need to know to how to use machinery and what things we can implement to have a good develop in in the agriculture. Thank you for the opportunity. The first question is: you as an expert in agriculture machine, what things we can do to have better results and be more efficiency using these expensive machines.
Well, the first thing you have to know is that, as you said it before, machines are expensive. Talking about tractors and the equipment that tractors use to achieve certain goals. So the first thing you have to know is that anything you plant has to be sold. You have to have a market for it. So if you have to make a high investment, that investment has to be very well planned. Because if you plan to buy a tractor just because you like it, or just because you like technology, or just because you like the color or a certain brand, and not taking into account that you have to do something with it, and it has to be a very profitable business, then the investment will be lost.
Okay, the second question is, well, you know that are very expensive machines. What things you think that are very important to to the maintain, like the oil, the, the oil, the, the weeds or things like that?
Well, first of all, in our culture, remember these machines range from maybe $20,000 to $300,000. And what do we do with these machines? We give them to people who maybe don't even have a high school diploma. So even if you give them to these low educated people, what you have to be sure of is that the person that you're giving it has a training in the operation, a training in the maintenance, a training in how to calibrate it. So that's the first part of assuring that you will have a long life tractor.
Can you give me like one example of in what part John Deere is increasing their innovation? Like probably an example like AMS or things like
Well, not only John Deere, I think every brand is making investments in research in agricultural, in precision agriculture. So precision agriculture is the technique that allows us to know where the variations in our fields are, and according to these variations, make the best use of our inputs. So every brand is putting in sensors and satellite signals and any other gadget that helps in this to achieve this goal.
you with your experience, obviously you know about a lot of machinery and innovation. Well, what sector in Honduras you think that is the most you can get more production, more product like corn or beans?
I don't understand the question.
Well, what soil? Uh, there are many parts in Honduras growing in the production of crops. For for you, in what areas of Honduras the machines have better developed?
The machines have better
Developed.
developed
Yes. Developed.
development.
Yes.
What do you mean by development?
Uh,
More machines, more technology,
yes.
better lands, or what?
Yes. Better machines.
Better machines, what?
Better machines.
Better machines. Uh, maybe a region in Honduras that has the most potential aspects to grow in this area is Olancho. Olancho has extensive fields, very expert farmers, and I think the best equipment is in Olancho, or maybe that's regarding individual farmers. But there are enterprises in Honduras too that are making big investments in precision agriculture. And if they make investments in precision agriculture, they make big investments too in machinery.
Uh, in the part, if you think that using big tractors is recommendable in Honduras, considering that probably you move a big tractor to make only 1 hectare, what things, can you give me an example of how many horsepowers we need to like probably work here in in a like 2 hectares, only 2 hectares.
Hectares.
Yes, but yes,
Well, it's not a matter of how many hectares you can do with this horsepower. It's a matter of what you need to do. Maybe there's a problem in Honduras or in every part of the world that we first buy the tractor and then we try to put it into work. But it's the other way. We first need to identify the problem. What do we need to do? And that means that may be tillage or soil preparation or planting or seeding or anything. But you need to define your problem. What do you need to do? Maybe if you do multiple tasks, tillage or planting or crop maintenance or harvesting, you have to identify the activity that demands the most uh, uh, power or horsepower. Then you need to know your windows of work. When are the seasons that you can do this work and how many land you need to achieve in a certain time. When you have these two factors and you know what do you have to do and the time you have to do it, then you begin to calculate the horsepower you need, and that gives you the size of the tractor or the implements you need to buy. But you cannot buy implements or a tractor without knowing what your problem is. If your problem is soil conservation or soil tillage is the practice that demands the most power. So most of the time you need to buy your equipment according to what you need to do in tillage.
what company you recommend? So, with this I mean, well, the facility that they give you to pay the tractor, or to buy the parts if you have like probably you have a problem with the with the motor. Yes, the facility that they give you that probably they say I will give in 2 weeks I will sell the part that you have the accident.
Okay, I think every brand is in the market now is competitive. The thing you have to know is that any brand you buy, you need a good after sales service. And you say that what after sales is, you need somebody that brings you apart the less time possible. So I think the big distributors in India, I think the big distributors in India of the big brands present in the world market are good dealers. They have a good after sales service, so I cannot say this or brand or this brand. Zamorano has a better uh, business relation with Samosa, the dealer of John Deere. But that doesn't mean we are married with Samosa.
They give you like preference with like the did they give you preference because you buy frequently parts and
Yes,
different tractors?
in every business, if you buy a lot or if you're a frequent buyer, you get deals, you get discounts and everything. Or by being a university, we may sometimes get educational discounts or something like that, or even donations.
Do you think that to move the soil, we need to have a lot of power in the tractor? This is like, oh, what do you think about that?
That depends on what moving the soil means to you. If you need
Like
to
to penetrate like 15 centimeters?
That depends on a lot of things. Depends on the speed of the tractor, depends on the width of the implement, and depends on the depth of the implement. So that question has a lot of answers. It can be something between 80 horsepower to 350 horsepower, depending on what you need to do. The more you need to penetrate, the more power you need.
Uh, to how many horsepower you need to probably do with the subsolar,
Uh-huh. With the what?
the, the subsolator,
Uh-huh. I don't know what a subsolator is, but what do you mean by that?
the thing that with
The chisel.
yes,
Yeah, that depends. Here in Zamorano, we have worked with tractors that range from 180 HP to 250 HP. But that depends on how deep you want to get.
do you think that have the four wheels in the back part of the tractor help in what for what do you use that?
I mean, the what? The for what?
The four wheels in the back.
What is that? For tires.
Yes, the four tires.
Uh-huh.
What are the advantages to have
That's called dual tire. If you have four tires on the back of the tractor, yeah, that helps for grip, helps for to reduce compactation because it's the same weight of the tractor divided into a bigger area. So compactation of the soil is less. There's always compactation, but it's like
there is some part in Honduras that that they already have the AMS or
in Honduras, yes, there are other companies that have the AMS. AMS is a system, and somebody has one part of the system with certain models, another one has the AMS with another model. So that depends on what you need the AMS for.
well, this is my interview with the engineer Francisco Alvarez, and thank you for the opportunity.